Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 525, we're going to talk about Sen Triplets. I do apologize about the kind of out of focusness that the Sen Triplets looks like, but this is a product of being 3 sleeves, and one of them being really played, it looks like, the outer one. So, Sen Triplets, yes, surprisingly enough, I haven't got around to it till 525, right? 2 and Esper, I believe. White, blue, black. I know Danny's going to say that he didn't get an Esper crayon in his Crayola box, but at the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't play spells or activated abilities and plays with their hand revealed, and we get to play cards from their hand. This is one of the greatest... I don't know if I want to call it 75% cards, because your deck is typically as good as your opponent's at the table. So it scales very nicely. Now, with Sen Triplets, though, there are some inherent drawbacks. Like number 1, you only get to... I've got several different things here, so we're going to be all over the place. This may be similar to a lot of Sen Triplets decks, but it may not be. The very first thing that we've got going is we've only got one opponent. Now, we've got a table full of opponents, right? In theory. So, but it triggers at the beginning of your upkeep. So, with Paradox Haze, we enchant ourselves, and we get 2 upkeeps. Right? So, each upkeep we're going to choose a different player. So now we can play spells out of 2 different players' hands. 3 counting ourselves. Now, all that's fine and good, but if you'll remember the wording on Sen Triplets, it didn't say anything about mana's any color or whatever. We've got to still be able to, cast the cards in their hand. And we're pretty set up on white, blue, and black, but what if it's red or green? Green being the powerhouse that it is, we might want some cool green stuff. So that's where Celestial Dawn comes into play. Now, this is the original printing from Mirage. It doesn't actually work like it does is printed here. They've errated it because they didn't want to actually have a card change mana symbols. Now it says your lands are plains and you may spend white mana as though it were mana of any color. So with that, you can cast anything you want to. I mean, we do have some 5-color lands: the Transguild Promenade, Elvish or Exotic Orchard, the Command Tower, Gateway Plaza, Vivid Creek, Rupture Spire. We won't get into the rest of the lands, but those are our 5-color ones. But also with Celestial Dawn is all our lands are plains. So I figured it was worth 1 slot to meme it up a little bit, because if you've got the Celestial Dawn, first off, Armor Ascension is a card nobody suspects in a 3-color deck where you're worried about producing 5 colors of mana. And if we do actually get that red and green permanent, we've got Spirit of Resistance. It's from Invasion. If you control a permanent of each color, just prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. That's all. It's crazy, I know. Another way to get mana, hey, we'll just use their mana this turn. Undoubtedly, we've got a player, hardcore ramping. Wishclaw Talisman, I put in here simply because the drawback we don't really care about now. Yeah, so what? I want you to go get the best card out of your deck. It'll be in your hand, and I'll probably pick you so I can play it. Skeleton Shard is going to get back Target artifact creature from your graveyard to your hand. Our commander is an artifact creature, so as well as the crashing drawbridge, because when we're casting their creatures, we kind of want to give them haste, just in case something happens. We want to get some use out of them. Now, telepathy is kind of a necessity because we don't want to blindly pick our opponent. We want to pick the person that's got the best stuff in their hand. So the telepathy kind of opens that up. Duress will do in a one person. I mean, if you don't have your telepathy and you just want to check before you pick, if you don't have the. So, Tribute Mage is going to get 2-drop artifacts. Now, it's the colors, and I'm not responsible, okay? I'm not. So, there's a couple things that Tribute Mage can get. It can get the Thopter Foundry that's miscut pretty bad. But anyway, I think I had a couple of those that were miscut like that. It's weird. Thopter Foundry, you spend 1, sacrifice a non-token artifact to put a Thopter into play, and you gain a life. Well, we all know the combo here is sort of the meek. Another 2-drop artifact, so, the mage can go get either piece that we need. So we get that loop going, and it doesn't really do any. I mean, it gains us a bunch of life, but at this point, with just the 2 cards, it does occupy mana. That's where the Ashnod's Altar comes in at. That way we're mana positive in the transaction. Also, it's really cool to if there are creatures that your opponents have in their hands that won't do us any good, we can sack them, play them, and sack them to our altar to get some benefit out of them. So let's look at some mana. We have an inordinate amount of mana here. I tried to focus on 5 color as much as possible. Things that tap for any color, because that's what we're going to need. We're not always going to have our Celestial Dawn. We're not. So, the Darksteel Ingot, the Commander's Fear, Colony Gem, Scuttlemutt, Gilded Lotus, Opaline Unicorn. Then we get into some, Ethereum Sculptor. It was a stretch, but our commander being an artifact kind of put it over the top for me. Walking Atlas, Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Obelisk of Esper, and Smothering Tithe. Now, I'll admit, Smothering Tithe was almost enough, because it's such a good card. It was almost enough to make me run the oh, my mind just went blank. Cranial Plating. There is a few artifacts in here anyway, and there's a possibility of our opponents having artifacts that we like, but generally the artifacts that people put in their decks are going to be played before Sen Triplets ever comes out. You know what I'm saying? But this generates a ton of treasure artifacts. So the Cranial Plating almost made the cut. And it still may yet. There still may be something that just doesn't perform, and I take it out for the Cranial Plating. But I didn't want it to be in there and be useless, except for when I had Smothering Tithe. We do have Diabolic Tutor to go get the Smothering Tithe, but also... Mind's Dilation, a favorite of my local play group. I know Danny plays it, and Jimmy plays it, and Donnie plays. Everybody plays. I mean, Mind's Dilation's a great card, because more than likely I will cast it. It's just gonna happen that way. Card draw. Let's look at some card draw. Now, obviously, the very first thing, prosperity. I want everybody to draw cards. Oh, and by the way, the new folio of fancies, yeah, it's worth like, what, 21 cents or whatever. It's rare, but it's a great card. I wish I had one for this. I've used all my copies already. But prosperity, everybody draws. You know, Chase Belair and everybody's going to draw because I want people to have cards in their hands so that I got stuff to pick from, you know. But impulse, opt, and I like Dust Battle Cedar because it puts cards in my opponent's hands and it costs them life. Yeah, I know it does us too, but people pay 2 mana and a gajillion dollars for Bob, so I figure why not a 4/4 flyer? The drawback is actually an upside for us. So, Covetous Urge, you know, one-shot deal. Hedon's Trove, we can cast their graveyard. Let's see, Extract from Darkness. I like Extract from Darkness. Put a creature card from a graveyard. Any graveyard, any creature, it's awesome. And then, you know, Phyresis, because, oh man, this is another reason why I should be playing with the cranial plating. I don't know. Maybe now that the Lattice got banned in Modern, the price will drop, and that'll be a good swap out, and I'll have to run cranial plating, right? So let's look at creatures. Now, just some early protection, you know, hey, don't come over here, Fog Bank, Wall of Denial, Tuatha's going to bribe creatures not to attack us, or I mean, attack period. Evil Twin, I'm just going to copy something. Now, Aura Thief, I feel like Aura Thief is about to explode. We are we are right here at Theros, just a couple of days from the pre-release, a week and a couple of days from the launch. Not that we get a launch party anymore. Anyway, oh, by the way, quick Magic history note. The set that we got the card launch party in was the first set that we had that didn't have a launch party. Anyway, Aura Thief has a whole lot of enchantments coming out. Notion Thief, man, we're all about the thieving. Yeah. This, oh man, this and Prosperity's kind of sick too. Agent of Treachery. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more permanents you don't own, draw 3 cards. Now, I love that Agent of Treachery. It just, when it enters the battlefield, just gain control of it. You don't lose control of it if Agent of Treachery leaves play or dies or whatever, or gets blinked like happens in a whole bunch of decks. So maybe a blink element might also work in here because, you know, we've got some pretty decent flyers in Magister Sphinx. I can't tell you how many times I'll Magister Sphinx you, blink it, and then you. I couldn't put the Artifact Chroma, is what I've always called her, the Sphinx of the Steel Wind. It's one of the original Keyword Soup cards. I could not do it. I was in the colors. I needed creatures. Sure. Let's look at some removal, of which there is a ton. Because we've got to buy some time to get our commander online, to get enough mana to cast stuff. We have Soulquake, return all, which is, a super sorcery speed evacuation, and all creatures in graveyards to their owner's hands. Now, late game, once I have control of 2 players' hands, this is exactly what I want to be doing. However, little mana intensive. Mortify, Detention Sphere for those token decks. Time Wipe. Is this not the perfect reset button? I think I'll put Sen Triplets back in my hand and blow up everything else. We're good here. Celestial Purge, D-Spark, Murder, Innocent Blood for the early, because we don't have as many creatures as everybody else is going to have. Exile, the card that named the zone. Disenchant, Doomblade. Persuasion is removal. Sure. Fractured Identity. Yes, I know that I am running black and I could be running a Phage in here. But I wasn't too sure about that particular combo in this deck. It didn't really tie, but I do like everybody, other than, I don't know, it's so good I might have to. How that works is I'll cast a Phage and then I will exile said Phage, and everybody else gets a token of Phage and they insta-lose. Yeah, I should probably be putting that in here. Anyway, a little bit of counter magic and negate. Mana Leak. You'd be surprised how often they don't have the 3. Dream Fracture, because we both get to draw a card. And Unsubstantiate. Let's look at our non-basics. We already saw the 5-color one, so we're going to try to push some air out of this. And watch it raise back up. Okay. Maybe we got it. Submerged Boneyard, Dismal Backwater, Dimir Guildgate, Dimir Aqueduct, Dwaral Refuge, Tranquil Cove, Azorus Guildgate, Meandering River, Azorus Chancery, Orzhov Basilica, Scoured Barrens, Forsaken Sanctuary, Caves of Koilos, Orzhov Guildgate, Arcane Sanctum, and Evolving Wilds. And that is it for... Oh, also, I've got my fancy poison counter token. It is from RK Post. I saw him at a GP. Super nice guy. Got it autographed. I don't know what that means, but I know that's his autograph. So, super nice guy. That's one of my favorite parts of going. Move my spit screen out of the way. It's one of my favorite parts of actually going to GPs is I'm an autographed hound. I have been since back in the 80s. I was a baseball card autograph junkie. Back when baseball cards were a thing, I do apologize. I haven't shaved in a couple days. I was really, really bad under the weather yesterday. It was rough. That's why this video is so late. Because I have been releasing them right at 4 a.m. Anybody ever wondered why? That's when my day starts. Normally it is at 4 a.m. So I figured, why not? Well, that's 525 Sen Triplets. Yes, I am still in my pajamas. So Sen Triplets is done. Tomorrow we have Rakdos deck, so it'll be fun. Tomorrow's a little more casual than this one, although it's my channel, right? They're all casual. Even the big ones are casual. But Sen Triplets is that's kind of a landmark deck that a lot of folks. I didn't realize that card was that expensive, man. Because I've had one just chilling since the Law Reborn came out. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. Let me know what you think, and please, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. But for right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.